are truly blessed as a nation. And we are blessed because our nation was founded and based on worshiping God and following God. If you look around today, you see more and more people who are trying to rewrite history and make it look like our country was not founded on religious principles. These are the same people who are trying to change anything that they don't agree with. The term that is used to describe this movement is the cancel culture. If people do not agree with something, or if it offends them, then they just try to do away with it. Whether it be a statute or a law or scripture, if it offends or goes against their beliefs, then as far as they're concerned, it can be eliminated. The thing is that is not something new. It's not something that just started occurring in modern generations. Cancel culture has been around for thousands of years, and it's reared its ugly head often throughout history. Just think about it, first of all, during Jesus' time. A 4-year-old was telling about the Bible story she had heard in Sunday school class. It was the story of Jesus healing the blind man. When she got to the part where the Pharisees questioned the healed man, she said, "Oh boy, were those Ferris wheels jealous of Jesus." I believe this is one of the first times we see cancel culture. I believe the Pharisees saw in Jesus something they didn't like, and at that point it became their life's goal to cancel him. If we look at John 11, 45 through 53, we read this. Therefore, many of the Jews who had come to visit Mary and had seen what Jesus did believed in him. But some of them went to the Pharisees and told them what Jesus had done. Then the chief priests and the Pharisees called a meeting of the Sanhedrin. "What are we accomplishing?" they asked. "Here is this man performing many signs. If we let him go on like this, everyone will believe in him. And then the Romans will come and take away both our temple and our nation." Then one of them, named Caiaphas, who was high priest that year, spoke up. "You know nothing at all. You do not realize that it is better for you that one man die for the people than that the whole nation perish." He did not say this on his own, but as high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the Jewish nation, and not only for that nation, but also for the scattered children of God, to bring them together and make them one. So from that day on, they plotted to take his life. What sticks out to me in those verses is in verse 48, where the Pharisees say, if we let him go on like this, everyone will believe in him. No thought given to whether what he was saying was true or not, whether it was good or not. All that mattered to them was thinking that if they let him go on doing this, people would start following him instead of them. They would lose their support. We need to remember, these are the religious leaders of this time. And at that point, they made it their life's goal to kill Jesus. You would think that they would have been the examples for other people, but they were not. Then if we look over in Matthew 26, 59 and 60, we see Jesus as he stands before the Sanhedrin at his trial. And listen to what these religious leaders said. 59 and 60, the chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for false evidence against Jesus so that they could put him to death. But they did not find any, though many false witnesses came forward. Cancel culture is not something that's brand new in the year 2020 or 2021. It's been around much longer than that. We need to make sure that we don't fall into the trap of trying to eliminate what we don't like or what we don't agree with. Sunday school teacher was teaching about the bad Pharisee who thanked God that he was not like that publican. She concluded her lesson by saying, "Now let's all bow our heads and thank God that we're not like that Pharisee." Another time I believe we see cancel culture is during modern times. I think the one that I think of specifically is abortion that's out there right now. We've all heard of Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court in which the court ruled that the Constitution of the United States protects a pregnant woman's liberty to choose to have an abortion without excessive government restriction. No concern for the innocent life of the child that was lost. All that matters is what the mother wants. Doesn't matter how much it's going to cost that child. And then they try to sanitize the whole thing by having organizations that names do not fit the organization. They call it Planned Parenthood. There's no parenthood in it, and there's no planning to it. I don't know how they use that terminology. Their last thought is parenthood or raising children. Since Roe versus Wade, the decision in 1973, there have been 62,502,904 abortions. That is 62,502,904 babies who have been killed. There's no concern for human life, just self-centeredness. But they try to justify it in their minds. It's not a baby, it's just a fetus. Or it's an unviable tissue mass. Well, God disagrees with them there. Psalm 139, 13 through 16 says, "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." Mankind can try to explain it away. They can try to use excuses, but it's still a baby that lost its life in abortion. And that's just one area where people are trying to cancel what they don't agree with. What about God himself? People have been trying to cancel him forever, mainly because he has standards and guidelines and rules that he likes for people to follow. And they don't want to follow them. They want to do what they want to do. They try to cancel God creating all that is. But again, Scripture makes that clear. What's Genesis 1:1 say? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. As I said before, so much for the Big Bang Theory. And there are many other areas in life where people are trying to cancel things that they don't agree with when it comes to God. God is the ultimate judge. And God is the one we're going to have to answer to, not that politician. I feel kind of like I'm rambling a little bit in this message this morning, but there really is a 4th of July message here that I'd like to get across. That is the beauty of the country that was established so many years ago. We do not have to all agree all the time. And just the fact that we live in a free country makes it possible for people to try to cancel things that they don't like. But it's then that we as Christians need to make sure that we stand up for God. I read a blog this past week by Bob Russell where he talked about our country and the 4th of July. He talked about how some preachers and some churches don't like to spend a lot of time with a patriotic theme in churches because they feel like when they do that, then maybe they're worshiping the country instead of worshiping God. I like Russell's response to that, and I'd like to read some of that to you. It's a little bit lengthy, but it's great information. Good stuff in it. He said this: "I have not observed much ungodly American idolism in the country. I have encountered many American Christians who are deeply concerned about the direction of our country, but not many who worship America or put their hopes in it. In this day and age, indifference and ingratitude are of greater concern than idolatry. The Apostle Paul tells us to give everyone that you owe them what you owe them. If respect, then respect. If honor, then honor. I feel that honoring and giving thanks for America on the 4th is not worshiping America any more than honoring Mother's Day would be worshiping your mother. James 1:17 reminds us that every good gift comes down from God, our Father. The United States of America has certainly been one of God's exceptional gifts. To be patriotic is to acknowledge that while America isn't perfect, God has poured out incredible blessings on this country. America has an exceptional spiritual foundation. What other revolutionary army has a memory of its general on his knees in the snow? What other founders stopped in their initial deliberations to have a prayer meeting? What other nation has endowed by their Creator written in its charter, or in God we trust stamped on its currency, or has freedom of religion as the first of its Bill of Rights? America has been given exceptional resources. Upon arrival in the new land, the Pilgrims were so impressed with the trees, rivers, and natural resources that one observer from the Mayflower described it as a goodly land wooded to the brink of the sea. Our country has such an abundance of trees that we've built frame houses, erected telephone poles, and laid railroad ties all across the land, and still have plenty of timber left over. Our abundance of coal has powered turbines for years, thereby providing inexpensive electricity nationwide. Recently, enough oil and natural gas have been discovered to enable our nation to become energy independent. Drive across the Midwest and marvel at the amber waves of grain as well as beans and corn. Visit California and Florida, and you can see acres and acres of fruits and vegetables being harvested that will soon stock our supermarkets with a plethora of choices. It has been established that America has 6% of the world's population and 50% of the world's wealth. Admittedly, that's a huge responsibility, but since every good gift comes from God, shouldn't we be extremely thankful? America is blessed with exceptional beauty. This country contains some of the most spectacular scenery on earth. Have you ever visited Niagara Falls, Yellowstone National Park, the Grand Teton Mountains, Pikes Peak, Cape Cod, the Smoky Mountains, the horse farms in the Kentucky Bluegrass region? If so, you've seen some of the most beautiful places in the world. Our forefathers sang America the Beautiful for a reason. Americans enjoy exceptional freedom. Our founders established a constitutional republic which restricted the power of government and assured individual liberty. We should be eager to express thanks for the freedom of worship, freedom of travel, freedom of press, freedom of speech that is unparalleled in the history of mankind. Our nation has an excellent history of benevolence. When a natural disaster creates a crisis in other areas of the world, America has traditionally responded quicker and more generously than any other country. Whether it's a tsunami in Indonesia, an earthquake in Haiti, a refugee crisis in Africa, or rebuilding Europe following World War II, the United States of America has led the way with financial resources and volunteer assistance. Has our country been selfish and greedy at times? Yes, but the USA leads the way in providing benevolent help around the world. The United States has an exceptional spiritual base. Though the percentage of people who believe in God and attend church regularly is declining, there will still be a higher percentage of people who worship God next Sunday morning in America than most nations in the world. The Bible is still the best-selling book every year. Christian radio and television stations based in America broadcast the gospel around the world every day. People of every tribe, tongue, and nation are loved equally by God. But as anyone who has ever visited a third world country knows, not all nations are equal. That doesn't make us superior to anyone, but it should make us more grateful than everyone. To be patriotic on July 4th is simply to thank God for the abundant blessings He has poured out on this land. It is to express appreciation for those who have sacrificed so much to secure our unprecedented freedom. It is to join with our forefathers in pledging our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor to ensure future generations will have the same privileges we have had. Not to do so is to be blind to God's goodness and to be guilty of gross ingratitude. I will give thanks to you, Lord, with all my heart. I will tell of all your wonderful deeds. I will be glad and rejoice in you. I will sing praises to your name, O Most High. We are blessed. America, even with all of its flaws, is the greatest country in the world. And that's because this country was founded on religious freedom, founded on God. As we celebrate the birth of this great country, let's make sure that we thank God for what we've been blessed with. And let's make sure that we're willing to stand up for Him. We are one nation under God. 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, who are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sin, and will heal their land.